What's up? What's good? What's happening, swing traders? We've got an awesome live stream for you today. We're going to jump into so much information, putting all of this key data right at your fingertips. And yes, this is actionable information. We're not talking about some headlines far off in the distance. We've got the exact day that this bond buyback unlock is going to increase, which is running parallel with a bunch of central bank events. Now, what our election cycle rally is saying is there's going to be an enormous leg up, dwarfing the other one on August 19, which, by the way, this theory had already projected would be the primary breakout point. And of course, this was all put together weeks in advance. Just like last night, our VIP trading group, we're sitting at home. We understand this morning, important, they're releasing some inflation data and durable goods. Very big for AI. Now, you guys remember the digital ID trend? It rocketed troll, bio, billions. It was hot at durable goods prints. So we ended up getting ONG on our radar. Look at what happened. Once the data was released, it just rocketed from 9 cents, basically more than doubling up, and it's cooling off right now. Now, there's a key macro resistance level right here, which we've now passed. Projects like VVV have gotten on top of that. This is big for that setup. And that's what it is, really, is a bullish setup. Same thing with Eden. Eden, more aligning with incoming Clarity Act data. Looking at the past 24 hours, yup, there you got it. Now, I feel like ONG should have been a primary target inside our VIP group. It was one of our 3 options to buy with bullish data, but I feel that we didn't nail the entry. So we're going to call this one a quasi-success. But it's no big deal. It's one project. Look at the rest of the altcoin market. They didn't really jump today. Digressing back to our theory. It's gonna get bullish, guys. It's closer than we can even imagine. Once this September 15th catalyst all comes into play, the United States government, they're going to be voting on the Clarity Act. And this is going to actually touch base with some Robin Hood meme coins. There's a lot of controversy about Obscura. It's a tokenized stock DeFi project, a similar stockbroker. This is an NFT, tokenized stock DeFi project. This isn't just a JPEG on chain. These projects actually do something net. Tokenized stock RWA, and they're using the Robinhood Launchpad to get going. Index. This one made massive capital for early stage investors. Quotron. Again, it's just one of those goofy tokenized stock narratives that's trending so hard today, but just imagine how this is going to align with our election cycle rally thesis. We've got this bond unlock. Now, here's the catch with the bond unlock. Let's zoom in here. So this goes on, first of all, until November 4th. You guys remember our election cycle rally image? Boom. First step up, August 19th, FOMC minutes. That's when the party is going to get started, like we just saw. Now, what we didn't understand was they were going to do a bond buyback. You couldn't predict that. That came out of nowhere, but we're happy that it happened. It put a little bit of a twist on the rally as well. A lot more focus on large cap projects. A classic rally trickling down into low caps. Now, the next big event is that dot plot vote. And they have came in so hard from every other angle. Check this out. September 15th, right? Look at what's happening in the bond market just a week before. They're jumping up from 6 billion to 25 billion in 1 week of unlocks. And that bond liquidity surge goes on right until election day. How funny is that? It goes right until November 4th, which is before we even got that information, when we were planning there'd be a take profit window. You see that? Because what we believe is happening is all of these other forces, all of these other massive influencers from the White House and the world of finance, they're getting in on this Clarity Act rally. They want it to be a success. Stable coins, tokenized finance gives them another level of control. It gives them more power. What is Facebook all about? We are the product. Everything we do. And that ties into the privacy narrative as well. Just like in VIP, we're getting all of our group members ready for August 19th. At this point, we're getting ready for September 16th. This is going to be the coup d'etat monster breakout. Now, in the meantime, we've got a lucky event. Let's take this to the DXY, and then we're going to bring it over also onto the total 3. Notice how the total 3 reached this major resistance. This is a resistance level, by the way, that only this channel is using. You know, I got into an argument on Twitter the other day, and I was so happy it brought like tears to my eyes because this guy that was trolling me was using actual common sense. He was using the Fed data macro system to argue his point. And I was like, okay, we're actually having an intelligent conversation now because so many investors do not understand what makes this market move. It's just beyond them. Without macro data, you're never going to get that edge that you want. It is the market mover. And all of that data is showing, without a doubt, this is going to be the big jump. So about that lucky break, before we digress into, people are learning, which means our task is working. 2 years ago, I would make videos about Fed data, and you know what people would say to me? You're nuts. Fed data doesn't do anything, man. You don't even know what you're talking about. That's a completely separate market from the crypto. Today, people are starting to understand, yeah, okay, the Fed and crypto goes hand in hand. And this is our VIP group specialty. This is why we're able to, time and time again, just outperform, capture projects on the day. Whether we're long-term hodl trading or we're catching some action for a quick double up on the day, it's this macroeconomic insight that gives us such an edge. Getting into this comments here, yeah. Is the bear market over? That is a see if I can get these links to go. No. All right. Yeah. I can see your comments on the side, although the app to put them on the screen is not working today. Is the bear market over? No, it is not. And I'll tell you why. Let's get into where we're at right now using some of our VIP insight for all of you guys that aren't in the group right now. This is something that we already kind of had an idea would happen in advance. So on Monday, we stopped and we looked ahead at the incoming data. And this is exactly why I'm constantly repeating the importance of macro data, because we found that without it, you're truly lost. But with it, the insights that we have are next level. So we looked ahead on Sunday to discern where we're at in this rally. And it was pretty clear durable goods would come in high, as we can see right here. And also, more importantly, inflation's going to come in high. Now, we all know what's going to happen with high inflation. It's going to cool everything down. And right now, we're getting a bit of a break in altcoins. So I want to go over some target projects for late entries, and for guys in VIP that already have a position, we're going to add on here. We put together this super good rule set. Now, just like when you're in an office space or in my restaurant, we always post up stuff about checklists, what's to do, what's the operation, you know, kind of like wash your hand sign, but more detail. And this is about our money, guys. One of the top rules is keep a trading journal. Also, keep notes, keep reminders around. Repetition is what makes us effective. Somebody can show you how to throw a massive knockout punch in Jeet Kune Do, but it's repeating that process that makes us so efficient at it. Rule number one, trade the process, not the outcome. Remember with Eden, we got in a bit early on that initially, and we got in here at the 6 cents mark. Also, we had a lot of other trades at lower, but without a decisive breakout. So people were scared. Hey, down here, should we get out now? No, this project is absolutely cooking. It looks like somebody passed out at a keg party. This bull flag is going to absolutely rocket to the upside based on technical analysis. These catalysts are what move the market. So waiting for catalysts like this morning, this is how we were able to last night. And we do this again and again and again. Nobody else can do this. Yeah, a lot of these more amateur swing traders are like, I'm in the meme coin market making gains, and that's awesome. My hat's off to them. But that's a totally different game. We're playing no limit Texas Hold'em. They're playing Pai Gow poker. There's still 52 cards, but it's a different game. So this is getting across that key Morgan Stanley level. And using macro data, we're able to say, hey, take a look at this one in the morning because it can jump. And sure enough, it rallied to the upside. Now, even though it was one of our top 3 swing trades, I feel it should have been the primary swing trade because of its use case. ID definitely correlated with durable goods. And while it was generally bearish, a large durable goods is specifically bullish for that project. So that was a base hit, but it could have been a home run. What we really want to get into on this pullback is lighter. This is an overpowered Robinhood DeFi project. So back to this DXY to really understand what's going on here. You guys remember the January 13th PPI, super hot inflation. Boom, May 13th. The entire bear market rally halted at the May 13th PPI. Bitcoin at 84,000, all your favorite altcoins got stopped in the mud. Fast forward, we get to the dot plot. There's another resistance that we just blew by. But guess where we just stopped again? Right here. Because this trend line, this resistance is all about macroeconomic data. Undoubtedly. And therefore, it's likely that we'll need cleaner inflation data for this upside to hit the next level across altcoins. Now, what do we have incoming? Something that can undoubtedly just blow right through the inflation data. And that is the September 15th Catalyst Cluster. It's kind of a big deal. They're directly unlocking liquidity. Look at the DXY. There's our June 17th dot plot, the FOMC meeting that started the whole thing. This is when they start the bond buybacks, a really key part in this whole election cycle rally thesis. It goes boom, DXY starts dropping. That's pushing the liquidity into us. That's setting up projects like CAP. A lot of people in our VIP group already took profits on CAP. A lot of people were fudding CAP. We were loading the bag way at the bottom. This is a stablecoin project, just like Eden, also in that stablecoin sector. It had a huge rip up to 42, and then it came back down and retested prior resistance as support. If you guys want the #1 book on technical analysis, this is $15 on Amazon, and I'm going to tell you right now, it is amazing. This book, Chart Logic by Dr. Varnes, this book will put you ahead of any KOL online. An example, Cash Cat, right? Cash Cat rips up to 200. Everybody wants to know, where's it going to land? I got a message from one of our VIP guys, sets an open order at our target project. There's the neckline. The pullback on an inverted head and shoulders is what? Minus 70%. This is textbook stuff, guys. So we calculate that in, beep, boop, boop. Now we get the calculations.
The shape charge indicates that they are technically proficient.
We see head and shoulder, minus 70. This isn't inverted, this is just a standard. Standard head and shoulder, minus 70. That gives us our target on Cash Cat, getting right down to like 33. So we're getting that fill at the all-time low range and just rocketing to the upside. Application of technical analysis. Now, when you combine it with macroeconomics, you're completely unstoppable. Tell me about it, dude. CAP is looking like it's going to go through the moon, right? CAP is like so completely off the chain. I'm like, anybody who sold is probably at this point thinking, you know what? I might want to buy back in. Maybe I'll take some of my profits and then just rotate those into a leverage trade, something along that. You know, throw some finesse at it, which is, that's great. I'm still holding. I'm just going to hold because the September 15th catalyst is so big and so juicy. There we go. Getting the comments back on the screen so we can have this discussion. Yeah, CAP looks like it's doing a bull flag. The 10 swing trading commandants, and I'm giving you this, guys, after a decade of experience, so that, you know, you guys are, a lot of you guys are making better trades than me. Somebody actually nailed this ONG trade inside our group, which made me extremely jealous. They're like, oh yeah, I got it at the bell, and then it was just like palm to hand. We had it right on the tip of our tongue. It should have been our primary trade. The best part about our group is we're getting such an accurate level. We don't do that community. It's a family, like raha, we're all hanging out buddy buddy. In my opinion, that's worthless. We're just giving you the alpha. We're going to put up on your screen, in your feed, this the night before it breaks out. And we're going to just walk you through all the data, how to read it, what's going on to get in on these trades. There's nobody, aside from these meme coin trends, nobody can do this because there's only one way to do it. You cannot beat the market without our system. You won't. Swing trading. So just stop, drop, and roll, or come in and we'll help you out, because it takes so much work, guys, too. You're ultimately hiring me to spend hours on a screen to cut your research time and down. That's a huge factor that I'm sure the guy who got in on this early is like, yeah, thanks for doing the research for me. No problem. But Back to cap and the bull flag. We trade the process. That's why I'm still holding my cap. If cap crashes back down and I lose all my gains, I don't care. I've balanced my swing trade portfolio and I'm in it because I understand the mechanics, right? We know what is going to move the market. We know all the gears behind it. So we put a plan in motion and we stick to the plan. Of course, we're going to expect some volatility. Yeah, cap looks like it has a monster bull flag. Let's check the stochastic momentum indicator because it's still in a bull flag itself. What about the 4 hour? It's been coming down, but yeah, this is what we saw on virtuals back when it was trending. This thing's so hot and it's on Coinbase, which makes it more aligned with regulations. Banker bot. Okay, this is like a free roll. It was one of our target trades for this morning inside VIP. So we had, you can get this, and Banker bot. It's a potential breakout at the durable goods. Yeah, it's nothing. It's got this rounded bottom pennant. I would not take my eye off of it though. I would set an alert for above, even above 29 cents. I would set an alert because as soon as this thing starts up trending, watch this. When we zoom out at it on the 1 week, this is often durable goods is artificial intelligence and robotics. Boom, boom, boom. See this? This is also like a spinning top emoji candle. This could be when the breakout really starts to manifest. I see your post about PRL and CAP. Remember, we're trading the process here, and the September 15th catalyst cluster, particularly for CAP, this is something that we want to be holding. That was the original trading plan. We want to hold it through this entire thing. It's a Coinbase new listing. So we're looking for a project that can go absolutely sky high. That's it in a nutshell, right? That's absolutely it. Yeah, so with CAP, BankerBot, keep our eye on. We want to see if we can get this to go, but dude, CAP has showed no mercy. This huge cup and handle and then a bull flag, this can absolutely rip. So originally we had measured, let's do it from a technical analysis standpoint. Like remember our cash cap? We ultimately came up with almost a bullseye, dead accurate plan for the cash cap pullback, right? We identified the head and shoulders. We used our technical analysis. And by the way, this book, 15 bucks, best book for technical analysis. And now when we overlap this with our macro signals, we're just breaking heads open. Now, what we want to do inside our VIP group, what I'm working on right now is updating our pattern directory. So it's almost like an updated version of an awesome trading book with charts from today. Of course, those are from like the 2020 rally, but it's all human psychology. That's what technical analysis is. So it still applies. Like example, the Adam and Eve patterns. So CAP, we want to hold it for the rest of the election cycle rally. The huge liquidity unlock is going to happen here. At the exact same time, they're going to be doing that massive Clarity Act vote, and the Fed's going to be doing a dot plot. So this is a catalyst cluster extraordinaire, absolutely ready to rally the altcoin market to the upside. Let's take a look at PRL. PRL posted some monster gains, and now we're getting another pullback here. Okay, with these cup in hand, this is a huge cup. One iteration of this cup pattern is it will repeat and do a double cup. This has lost key support though as well. Here at the May 13th PPI, this is got me a bit concerned about this pullback. So our original entry for PRL here at a durable goods print, and then we did add-ons here. When a project starts trending down and it's breaking, it's a good time to add some finesse, take some off the table. Also, when we get a huge upside break, there's nothing wrong with taking some chips down, waiting. We can always jump back in the trade at a later date, particularly with these low cap altcoins. Yeah, this durable goods should have had a more bullish effect here. It looks like we're going to go back down and start testing our original entry. So nothing too bullish with PRL. And this is a great project, by the way. It connects artificial intelligence with real human verification. And we've got that repeating Adam and Eve pattern. So this can definitely, when you see a smaller pattern, it often repeats at a larger scale. The best case scenario here would be a repeat of the bar pattern, a repeat of the cup. Which would put PRL in line to break out when the DeFi wave starts. So as we're looking at these election cycle rallies, first comes the large cap, and then it trickles down into the low cap, and finally, the final stage, the DeFi sector. We're getting stopped out at this PPI level. And today's print, with that bearish data, see how it's pulling back on this bull flag? It's not going to crash the market, but it can provide us a dip to scoop up target projects like Lighter, which has, look at that, beautiful cup and handle. Original trading plan for the durable goods, chopped around, and then actually broke out. With these larger caps, we get a lot more steady price action too. Yeah, let's take a look at Ontology, because that breakout, I mean, it was on the tip of our tongue. It was one of our 3 possible trading plans last night. Group members who understand the system, how it works, were able to think clearly, like we said in the durable goods post. If it comes out with a lot of growth, that can be good for AI. And we also mentioned, hey, remember back in April with the durable goods that really hit this digital ID section? You're putting 2 and 2 together like somebody did in VIP, boom. You can get that before this monster move. And now that we're on top of the October 10th Morgan Stanley level, That's gravy. And yeah, this is making a makeshift kind of duct tape muffler cup and handle. Lot of chop, a lot of volatility. I would almost look for a retest down to the 12-cent level. Let's get into the daily chart. Yeah. So that 12-cent level also aligning with the Morgan Stanley resistance. With the volatility on this chart, we could see a quick snap back to that 12-cent level and then more upside, right? Like another handle, because it's making these big U-boats. And then that'll give us a better price. We're protected because we flipped the Morgan Stanley October 10th level, just like VVV. Projects that flip that October 10th level have done well. It's a very key macroeconomic resistance, which is exactly what we're seeing on Bitcoin and on the total 3 chart right now. These macroeconomic events are what control the altcoin market, and we're heading into a massive catalyst cluster that you don't need to be an expert in macroeconomics to understand. Right? We've got the $12.5 billion unlock. Do we want to be holding ONG when they unlock $25 billion and the Fed votes on the dot plot and Congress votes on the Clarity Act? I think that we do. I think that that's going to be when the altcoin market goes into the banana zone. Now, originally, in our trading thesis, the FOMC minutes, the powers that be, as they so often do, went ahead and they doubled up that catalyst naturally, doing the bond buybacks, causing it to rip to the upside. Like we mentioned in our other live streams throughout here, we believed there was going to be a ceasefire. That was our original theory. We said, you know what's going to happen? There's going to be a ceasefire, which is what they often do. No such luck. Instead, it was a bigger, better catalyst that's even triggering more growth. And the funky thing is, it's all driving right into the altcoin market. First, big caps. Oh, that gets me to the next point. And this is monster crucial. Let's take a look at the macroeconomic schedule. This is all free information. You can just go out there into the world and collect it. It's really easy to find. One of the bonuses in being in VIP, we're going to organize it all for you, set it all up so it's at the click of the button, correlated to the altcoin market. Boom. Anything that you need to know that's going to give you an advantage trading to get you into setups like this. To get you into setups like this, to understand how far CashCat will pull back, and on and on and on. We handle that for you. And you can spend the rest of your research time digging through the trenches of meme coins or reading white papers. Oh yeah. So this is what's happening now. So the durable good and PCE are already said and done. What's happening next is even more important. You see these data sets? We're down to the final 3 before September 15th. And this is monster important because we already have put together, on September 15th, the whole market goes bananas. All right. And we all understand that right now, right? On September 15th, it's on. Congress votes, the Fed votes on the dot plot, and they increase the liquidity unlock. And remember, they built this all right around that's why we're calling it the election cycle rally. Before the bond buyback information was released, we already had all these dates figured out. Look at how the powers that be are almost using our macro data system to construct their own catalysts, right? November 3rd, we're saying take profits. And this was made a month ago. Look at that Treasury schedule. It ends the day everybody votes. November 4th, the bond buyback is over. Do we see corruption? But this is for us. We're in position. We're going to get this going. Here's the thing. The jobs report is going to be epic. And the labor market has been tanking. Let me bring up an image of the labor market I've got for you guys. The whole thing's on a downtrend. Now, remember what Powell was saying. He was like, hey, it's right in an FOMC meetings. I could bring it up for you guys, a minutes. It's official. He says, in the event the labor market continues trending down, we don't even care what the price of oil is. This is non-farm payroll, which means new jobs. It's just crashing. Kind of got going, and then the tariffs started. And now there's Iran. So they will cut rates to stave the labor market. This is to get us out of a stagflation, which is the worst. Now, a lot of people, including myself, were thinking they were going to hike rates at the end of the year. They can cut rates, and a rate cut can be devastational. A rate cut doesn't automatically trigger upside. Let me give you a great example of that. September 15th, and then there's that correlated October 8th FOMC minutes. There's the minutes, there's the meetings. Okay, so what do? They cut rates here. And they also had done a huge, like they were talking about some kind of QE, or they stopped QT. So they did a big liquidity deal here, bullish for altcoins. We got these monster breakouts, and guess what? See that emoji? You know, inside our VIP group, what did we do on the live stream the next day? Guess what? We just caught the top 3 best runners because our strategy is where it's at. And, you know, I'm just a mortal guy. There's guys inside group that are running circles around me using this. I want to teach it to you guys so you can take the ball and run with it. I've got the ball. We've got the ball. I want to pass it to you and then have you run with it. Because nobody's got this. We've got it. They cut rates here. When that minute comes out, it's over. Plus, there was the Morgan Stanley thing. And there was the government shutdown, which crushed the bond market. So going forward into this next total 3, right? We're like up because of now. And then the Fed can cut rates and it can still crash. That can crash the market. Oh yeah, cap is tasty. Now, taking profit on cap is going to be tricky. We need to execute this properly. But remember rule number 1. We are trading the process. We understand the September 15th is going to hit that like a truck to the upside. This huge election cycle catalyst. They're unlocking all those bonds. It's perfect. Where is Rizzy? That's a good question. You know, I think that we are getting shadow banned because we have a lot less viewers today. Our live streams were popping off and not now. It's all up to the algorithm. Of course, we haven't been uploading as much. Caspa's a long-term hodl, and it's definitely not in line with this particular bear market rally. Now, will the liquidity help Caspa? Yeah. Where can we get? Up to 4. Are we at an anticipated bottom? Certainly. This can get up to, I mean, 5 cents is pretty generous. I would say more realistically 4 after the September 15th catalyst. Caspa typically runs late. Reach that 4 cent peak and then come down. Remember what we just talked about with cuts? cuts can be bearish for Caspa. Remember the September 15th cut? Everybody was longing Caspa except for us. We shorted it and then bought back here. So Caspa's a wait. There's nothing wrong with the project. Remember rule number 1 with our swing trades? CAC, for an example, goes up to 40. Everyone's like, we got it. And then it comes back down here and everybody's like, no, it's a scam. Everybody posting on Twitter was right. And then it rallies back up. So we're here to trade the process, not the outcome. Now, there is a time when we need to say, whoa, something's wrong here. Like with PRL. Okay, this was a great trade. We got in down here and it was a strong add-on here. It pretty much doubled up from the add-on, and then right when the liquidity was released, everything went up except for PRL. It started crashing. So this is something where when it starts approaching our entry, you know, this is kind of a finesse, and this stuff is harder to coach. We try to give everybody as much insight as we can, like finesse, managing position, like in the middle of a trade. It's much less systematic. It's a lot more opinionated. The stuff that we try to release is based on Fed data. Of course, it's all hypothetical, but we have a higher conviction on it. You know, when to take profit on PRL, taking profit is much more opinionated. It can be connected to macro data, but it's a lot more finesse. So we're not able to give such an accurate coaching with that. It's not as scientific. It's more in the vague, right? And we can set up our Fibonacci pitches and, you know, use some basic rule of thumb stuff, but here we go. Awesome question. Awesome question. We're getting into the good stuff. Won't there raise rates September 15th? And won't that drive the market and Bitcoin lower? Awesome question. Let's pull up some of our Fed data. So there's two parts to that puzzle piece. One, there's the previous dot plot vote, which took place here. Now, just to give everybody a 30-second intro to what we're talking about, in case you're new to this stuff, we get over to the total 3 chart. Each one of these green emojis, the Fed does a dot plot vote. This is when they vote on if they're going to cut rates or hike rates. Way back in the day here, they were originally planning on doing the bull run right there. Inflation was too high. They said nope. And then they started adding regulation. They took CZ to jail and stuff. But either way, it's the dot plot vote here. And then here they said, you know what? We're going to actually start cutting rates. So at this meeting and then the next one, boom, it rocketed up. That was bullish. Here, they said, oh, Trump won the White House. And what's he going to do? Trump, that dirty dog, is going to go ahead and start doing tariffs. And what do tariffs do? They increase inflation. So through understanding that, we're able to say, okay, and this is all written in official documents. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. This is a post from December 20th, right? Back when Caspa was still up pretty high. December 20th, Trump just won the election. Everybody's like, he's going to rally Caspa because of tariffs. And where do I get this information on December 20th? From reading those documents. This was before I started doing cliff notes for the guys. I used to keep this stuff close to my chest and just make the trading call outs and use technical analysis, and people thought I had a crystal ball. Now I just show everybody the cards, and I actually sit side by side with them and help them count the cards. I do the cliff notes for all this stuff. So now we can beat these guys as a team, because the thing is, just like this guy who got in ONG when it was on the tip of our tongue, right? It was one of our target trading plans from last night, and we basically knew it was going to be. I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but he did. It was right there. That's why we do this. We just give everybody everything. And back to what the dot plot are. Right there. They say, oh, we're not going to do the bull market here. We're going to end. So we sell our whole bag, and we anticipate it's going to crash here. And what does it do? Exactly that. Meanwhile, everybody else, everyone who's in these meme coins posting huge gains right now, they're all like, alt season. And we're like, stop. It's not alt season. Okay, so what the question at hand is, on September 15th, we've got another one of those emojis. Now, isn't the Fed going to come out and wreck it? Aren't they going to do something bearish? We don't think so, because they just had the dot plot here, and there's a lot that goes into this. We actually have a VI post that covers it in detail. It's a multi-moving parts. For one, what's causing all the inflation? They want to hike rates, but they can't, because it's not going to affect the market. Because the only thing that's causing inflation is tariffs and the conflict overseas. Hiking rates isn't going to open the Strait of Hormuz. The Fed knows this. They're like a boxer. Hiking rates is one of their best punches. They aren't going to throw it until they've got the guy in a stunner. So they're waiting for the Strait of Hormuz, everything to come to some kind of conclusion, which I anticipate will happen at the end of the year, whether the headlines are fake, real, or whatever. And then they'll start messing with the rates. Now, that's my opinion. We can go into the meeting, into the minutes, if you're in our VIP group, and I'll show you exactly where it said that in writing. Everything that I just said. So this isn't like my little crackpot idea. This is, again, what we focus on in our VIP is, here we go, right here, in writing from the last document that was released when everything jumped up on August 19th. Part of our original plan, right? This is what it says. There's not going to be any rate change in 2027. Round of applause right there. So you want an answer to your question, and I give you page 3, paragraph 2 of the FOMC minutes. Okay? And we've got all this stuff, and this is how we do it. This is how we beat them. We just know, and nobody has a clue. Nobody does. I don't think they know what to do. I don't think they know to read this. Here we go. We got a gem hunter dropping a pick, AIoT. We're going to take a look at just the technical setup. There's the June 17th dot plot. Okay, we do have accumulation here, really strong. So here's the April liquidity injection. Another FOMC minutes that was very important. They released a lot of liquidity. At the same time, the White House, instead of doing this bond buyback, they did some kind of ceasefire. There was all this like, oh, there's corruption on Wall Street. All these oil traders made a ton of money overnight. In VIP, again, using our strategy and method, we were able to put together the best swing trades of the day. This is how we do it. It can be done. And without this method, best of luck. And I'm so pleased to be getting into arguments with trolls online that are arguing a different opinion in federal data. Because normally I'd be arguing with somebody with like a kindergarten's understanding of the market. And they're like, oh, the hype and the KOLs. And I'm just like, dude, above 100 million market cap, you can get every single channel on YouTube, from Crypto Banter to Altcoin Daily, to try to get it rallied up, and it's not going to do a damn thing. It's just not. But digressing back to this project. So good accumulation spike here. Yeah, this is nice. This can definitely be part of the September 15th rally. Let's take a look at what its use case is and then align that. All right, it's not even on crypto rank. We're gonna keep on moving. Bitcoin is the bottom in, and that's the question of the day. So we really understand this macro setup, right, guys? For anybody who's been trading with us inside VIP, our original post on May 13th when PPI data came in, and remember, that was like a big deal. That was like one of our major, like, this is it, guys. Like, everybody's got to wake up at 5:30 today. We're all making gains. We've all got running projects. And we're like, this is it. If this inflation print comes in bullish, we're going to get so paid. And it didn't. And our original trading thesis, we were like, short everything, unload your entire bag. And I was like, you know, that's a little drastic, but it was correct. And everything dumped from there. Then the dot plot, see that, retest it back up. So there's such a huge macroeconomic point here for Bitcoin. It can definitely rally and start getting close to 100K. We just have to flip this May 13th support. And because the DXY is rising now, because inflation just came in hot, it's taking a breather. It's slowing down, but we're talking about the all-time bottom here. And hey, this is relevant for me. I'm doing a strategy called SBACs. So we actually have an image for this. After this election cycle rally, I'm going to cash out my cap. Cash out the Eden. Cash out all of our trades, take that capital, and then go run it over to the bank. You get a trading portfolio, and they let you loan against it. You only have to lock it up for 90 days. So at the end of the year, when the profit taking comes, that's when we're anticipating the next meme coin cycle is going to start. And I'll tie the Bitcoin top into this. I'm building into it right now. So we can see, like, each time there's one of these major breaks, particularly in the dot plot, like we were just talking about, there's a bearish dot plot vote that will trigger a meme coin season. Because why? All the altcoins are crashing, and what? All the retail traders want to trade. This has been time and time again the start of an altcoin season. Here, it's Pepe, Brett. Here, it's AIXBT, virtuals, right? At this call out. This is what started virtuals when we were selling our Caspa in December with the rate hike. So just recently, they did another one, and that was the dot plot. Right? The dot plot comes out, boom, and instantly it's meme coin season. Now, we originally were thinking, hey, this can hit troll and stuff, but what emerged was the Robinhood meme coin sector. So looking forward, what did we just talk about, right? The Fed said in writing, we can't do anything until the end of the year, right? We pulled this up. This is like an official Fed statement. Great question, and we have the correct answer. Right? We've got and that can change. That can be the answer today, and it can change tomorrow. It often does. But for right now, that's the answer, bro. As soon as they do make a move, we're anticipating that's going to start the next meme coin sector. You guys remember Pfeffer? It's on stablecoin. Well, after the Clarity Act, right, that whole chain might not be dead anymore. And then therefore, Pfeffer can start to rally. So once they make that let's start the meme coin cycle call out with the dot plot move, there'll be another meme coin cycle and Bitcoin can find its bottom. Now, this liquidity injection and this election cycle rally is going to help Bitcoin a ton. Let me give you an example of kind of where we're at, in my opinion, based on Fed data. So the farther out we go, the more shady the projections are. Like, I can tell you for sure, the Fed said no rate hikes this year or cuts. But as we go farther out, things change. Another thing that we can see clearly in the Fed data, like this is legit, inflation, which is what causes them to do all this stimulation, they needed to get to 2%. They're saying that's not going to happen until 2028. Once it's, really good, like 2.5, right, and going down, that can start the rally. And we can see that coming out of the lockdowns, right? So like this would be the recent bottom. We got this election cycle rally, and then who knows what's coming down the road, because they have to control inflation. They have to get it down to 2%. And in order to do that, rate hikes are on the table. Remember what we were just looking at? The Fed was trying to hike rates. They were like, yeah, we're going to do it. And the only reason they're not, and this isn't my opinion, this is in writing from them, is because of the overseas conflict. You see? So long-term picture, what I'm going to do, close down my swing trade positions, buy some S&P 500, Coinbase stock, Circle stock is awesome. Lock that up, and then you can borrow against that and pay yourself if you own an LLC, and basically use that money twice. So I've got a stock portfolio, HODL, long-term, don't touch it for 20 years, that my bank is holding, maybe 10. Bank's holding that, and then I'm borrowing against it to pay myself. And you could probably get the bank to sign off on you buying miners, because that's a business, that's hardware. As long as they really don't like the word crypto. Don't use that in your LLC title. Just call it computation or something. Just don't go to the word crypto. Tibber made a big run. Is that true? Well, we got to check that out right now. Did we miss the Tibber breakout? Could we have figured this out? Actually makes some sense. All right, that must just be on Deck Screener. Yeah, we use a lot of crypto rank, guys. Oh, it's with an I. My bad. Oh yeah, Tibber. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this chart. Oh, juicy. Okay, broke out a little bit before, right? A little bit before the August event. It's got, where's its key macros? Oh, yeah. Well, the all-time high is the October 10th rally, kind of. Could be here, too. Coming up, it's pretty much at massive resistance right now. So this is good for Tibber, because with the incoming catalysts, can jump above. Yeah, that's got to be in the top. Yeah, base, Coinbase, Tibber traded on Coinbase, I believe. That's big. Coinbase, big on regulation. So we're looking at, over the last 30 days, there's Tibber. Yeah, it's done basically as good as Cap. SYCS, we had a very passive call out on this one. Great proof of work project. Excuse me. Oh yeah. So good look on Tibber. Yeah, Caspa. There's nobody in the world that wants Caspa to run more than me. I can tell you that right now, because obviously our trading style just aligns with it perfectly. So once Caspa starts really trending, our VIP group gets huge. We actually had one of the biggest groups on Patreon, like top 100 across all categories when Caspa was trending, because our trades were like mind-blowingly good. And so yeah, we really want Caspa to start trending again. In my opinion, with all the pivots in the market, it's going to be like a Zcash, guys. Here's why. Here's the deal with Caspa. All of this RWA chain, this is all centralized. Therefore, it's giving governments another level of control, right? And this is Caspa's bread and butter. Caspa's way more decentralized. It's like a Bitcoin that can perform like Ethereum. Therefore, one day, look at Zcash. The dot plot vote just triggered massive upside. This was part of our Zama theory. Zama's great. We've got posts for our VIP guys. Any pullback that we can get here towards 50 cents, that's a good value. This is a great hodl position. So we got our guys in here, right at the apex of this triangle. Again, this is the best technical analysis book, and I know this is the best because I bought all of them. I bought every technical analysis book on eBay. I've got a stack of a dozen of them right there, and that book, Chart Logic by Dr. Varnes, it's 14 bucks. Get the hard, I mean, you can get the digital for like $3. The hardcover's 14. It's the best. Now, what we're building inside VIP, you guys remember the gem hunting guide? That was like gravy. We're going to update the classic patterns so people can see the symmetrical triangles from this cycle to really help them tune in, because each classic pattern has its own catalyst that helps trigger it, etc. What's up, Ali? Is this a bear market rally? Good question. All the people are waiting to buy Bitcoin at the low, including me. Market makers are undoubtedly in cahoots with the Fed. Market makers operate secretly. The Fed, there's disclosure information. They have to tell us what they're doing. So we just went over the official statement saying they cannot affect the rates this year. It's in a document. It's real. This is part of the value of being in VIP. We give you that concrete information that you can use right here. This can change, but as of right now, that's right off of the August 19th minutes, the event that started this whole breakout. But here's the other thing. As we start to really get into everything they're saying, this 2% target, and you'll have to excuse me, so I'm looking for information on the fly here. Oh yeah. Inflation is projected to eventually return to 2%. There we go, right there. There she is. That's what I'm looking for. This is from the August 19th Fed document. And just like you were saying, well, the market makers, right now there are multiple high impact governmental type bodies that I believe are working in tangent to ensure the success of the Clarity Act, of stable coins, tokenized stocks, real world assets, because it gives them more power. This is 1984. We're all thinking about how much money we're going to make because we're going to, you'll have to excuse the pun, escape the matrix, because this is it, guys. They are closing the clamps down. So these guys are all working together. We had this put together a month ago, and look at how well it aligns with everything we know now. the bond unlocks will stop here, right when we were planning on taking profit. We anticipated it would start to break out here and then get really hot on September 15th. Guess what? They're actually 6xing the liquidity. This is the liquidity schedule. It ends on November 4th, and it goes 6x to the upside. And I've got it linked in the comments. It goes 6x to the upside here. So it's like, basically you could say it's like they're looking inside of this screenshot, our VIP group, and they're working with it. Plus, Congress votes here on the Clarity Act. So yeah, coincidence. Must be a coincidence. But this is how we do it, guys. This is how we catch all of these monster bangers. We're on, in my opinion, another level. I was just watching Freeman's live stream this morning. Great guy, and he's got a lot of good points. But of course, when push comes to shove, right, and Caspa starts running, you know, our VIP group explodes because our trading style just crushes, and we can actually get a lot of views in the YouTube algorithm. You know, this channel isn't about being a YouTuber. We don't do great edits, right? We don't consistently upload like these other guys that are so important for the algorithm. I spend all day looking for these trades. That's how we get you guys these trading plans before they happen, right? The night before. We're looking at this, and what are we saying? The durable goods tomorrow, which is today, on the, let's actually read this little caption here. Remember the April 27th one? Showed a ton of growth, just like today's. And this should have been the primary trade. So guys in VIP, congrats if you put this together on your own, but I probably should take a day off and just try to rest a little bit, because we should have had this as the primary trade. Not 1 out of 3. This should have been like 100%, go launch, everybody in group, get this now, it's on. So I feel like I lost my touch this morning, even though we had it teed up. We had it teed up, but we didn't have it like, you know, dude, this is it. This is it. So my apologies. We'll get to the next one. This is, remember, we're getting a little pause right now. The big event, which we will catch hard, is going to be on September 15th. Let's take a look, because technical analysis is so important right now. Technical analysis, once the market starts really heating up, is everything. And what we do is we're just going to overlay our macro Fed stuff, and we'll get that little edge that'll help us. Boom. Like when a triangle is coming to a point, could go 50-50. What's happening in the macros right at that point? Beautiful rounded bottom. And in our call to action in VIP, we've got our members out there looking for patterns just like this. So thanks for bringing this one up. June 17th. So this is the big resistance for Altcoin. And that's the June 17th dot plot. Now, putting 2 plus 2 together, timing is everything. Let's say you want to swing trade Altcoin, but you don't want to hodl invest it. You might even want to put 3x leverage down, make your money go a little bit farther. Key there is timing. So how do we do it? Let me break this down. Adding something to technical analysis. So first off, we've established the rounded bottom. So we know it's bullish. This is showing the seller slowly losing control and the buyer slowly taking over. So we've got like an inverted head and shoulder cup forming. At the jobs report, that within itself could be when we're anticipating everything's going to start to get going. Remember, all of that extra money from the Treasury unlock is going to start on the 2nd. So the thumbnail of this video says September 2nd, but it all starts on, it says 15th, but it's actually the 2nd. Pardon my French. So on September 2nd, we can leverage trade Bitcoin. What we're waiting for is the incoming jobs report, which consensus says will be bullish. Now, if you want to get really technical, you join VIP, you wake up in the morning, 5:30 a.m., just like we did today for ONG. You look at the data and then you say, oh, it's on, and then you jump on it. So with Bitcoin, macro data trading plan, September 2nd, we can start to DCA and then we can add on or just wait till September 4th. Hit that with a leverage trade. Here's why. This is when the Fed did the dot plot vote, okay? They're doing it again here. Of course, we need it to come out dovish, but look at how many of these weird coincidences are like suddenly building into this huge breakout, right? All of that Treasury stuff increases then. The Fed's voting then. And the government's voting right then. So, oh yeah, here we go. Bitcoin to the rescue. And it's actually, yeah, like forming the chart. That's probably why they named it. So we're good to go there. Good point out. Thank you for that, Cam Corp. Yeah, and remember, one of the keys to wealth is learning how to use the banking system correctly. We were just talking about setting up an S block, which is something we're going to walk our VIP guys through. At the end of the year, when we cash out our cap, when we cash out our memes, when we cash out our Eden, we're going to go ahead and then buy some S&P 500, some Circle stock. Since the earnings, this has already started to rally. But remember, we're looking at a pullback. So we're getting ready to really load up around April. And then we can borrow against those assets. So we don't have to sell our stocks to buy crypto. We have one band, and we're actually going to get to trade like 1.5 bands off of it. One band's in stocks, and then the half a bands we can pay ourselves. You have to work out the details with your accountant. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. To crash in October, timing the peak, well, there'll be a lot of liquidity that's getting unlocked until November. So there's something to say there against your theory. October 31st is right around when this liquidity injection ends. Plus the election cycle will be over. We're anticipating that is a much more logical time for the market to top and potentially start the next meme coin cycle. But indefinitely, once the Fed can finally pivot on rates and start fighting inflation sometime in Q1 of next year, you can get your low on Bitcoin. Originally, I did, Jason, and then I started thinking, started trying to prove myself wrong, trying to use some first principles. And there's actually a lot more data that says that they might even cut. And that rate cut can also be bearish. We got to take a look at the data on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz because they can't get a good read on it right now because that's just affecting everything. Plus, remember the Fed's going to do that big new way of counting data? They've got an ace up their sleeve that can really pivot the markets, kind of similar to the liquidity injection because they'll just change the data. They'll be like, oh, actually, jobs are here and inflation's here. The thing is, Jason, they voted on it, right? They just voted on doing it recently. And the market was pretty shocked at the meeting. That was when we originally jumped into cap. Was at that FOMC meeting. Once the new Jerome Powell came out, Kevin Warsh, and he said, we're not hiking rates. He said that, and then we're pressing buy on this. And it went right up the next day, retested resistance, and now we're here. So they voted on it, and this is the other thing. They need to get inflation down. Now, I will give you this for like official tidbits that I've picked up from reading Fed documents. There's been a lot of talk recently about letting inflation come down naturally. When we get on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz, when the Fed does their new, I'm going to change the way I count data, they're going to change everything. Those two things can be enough to just wait it out. They almost had it all set before Trump took office. There was going to be a bull run in Q4. And then Trump took over and he started doing tariffs. See, this is from December 20th. Trump had just won. Because inflation was weighed down, and it was only because of that reason that they hiked rates. And that's why you often hear Trump, suing Jerome Powell and stuff, because, that wasn't exactly nice of him. He takes office and then the Fed crashes the market, right? It was in writing. Again, it was another one of those things where everybody, all these guys that are really strong and have a ton of experience, and experience helps too, right? It takes a little bit of experience to be able to snag the top runners all the time, even though it's very systematic as well. All of these experienced, these guys that are catching all the top meme coin trades right now, they thought it would be altcoin season because it was going to be until this document came out. And we really started changing the way we teach and doing the cliff notes and showing, who's on first and what's on second in more detail. Because I would get a lot of notes arguing the other way, right? People would be like, no, the Fed's definitely cutting rates next meeting, dude. And I'd be like, no, they're not. It's in writing, man. So we just cut right to the source now and just give everybody a direct feed of what's going to move the market. Okay. Definitely makes sense. Let's take a look at syrup. This is listed on Coinbase. Had a nice rally here. We're going to want to put this on the big chart. We'll get a better feel for it. Syrup. All right. This is a good pick. There's something to, this is kind of similar to Tibber in its own way. So back here, this is when it was more privately listed, I believe. There's our October 10th level. So that's key macro level 1. Where did we bottom out here? Okay, so it actually didn't bottom out at the April liquidity injection here. That's kind of a big deal. It doesn't mean the bottom's done. Remember Athena? Athena, we had a passive entry on this back on like June 17th when it was down at like 8 cents. Massive spike up. This is basically, if you're thinking about buying Ethereum, you can just get some get some of this. Particularly with the Clarity Act. It's basically Ethereum juiced up. So it just reached its all-time low, just like Athena. That's why I brought that chart up. And it's starting to reverse. Okay, this is big. This is bullish. First bullish sign. And this is part of our call to action setup that we're using in VIP. You want to find stuff that's getting above June 17th, because that's our first major macro resistance. Right? We can see that across the total 3, across Bitcoin. That dot plot zone. See, there's the dot plot. See, on Bitcoin it went up, rejected, tested it, and that's all connected to this. So what's it's part of is the September 15th meeting. The dot plot on the chart. So we're already above that, which is good. Next is the May 13th resistance line. That's pretty tight. It's at 25 cents. And the full rally to the October 10th Morgan Stanley level is 32. So for me with syrup, the October 10th level isn't even a full double up. So I might let this one slide. I think it is bottoming and I think it does have upside, but for me personally, I want to look for more growth before we hit this level, this next major resistance, right? So we've got heavy resistance at May 13th, and then we're going to have more resistance here. So that's bullish scenario, a good target. Even if it flips it, it's strong enough for it to come back down and retest it. So this is where it ends up. Unless you're like MacGyver and you manage to sell the tip top, that's like a realistic target. So it's a 50-cent upside. That's why I'm going to pass on that personally, but it's a legit setup. Right, there could possibly be a wrench into this. And remember, all of this stuff, it's all constantly changing. I remember my personal trainer was like, yeah, is now a good time to buy Caspa. And we had originally, according to the Fed, we were going to get ready for a stronger bull run that could be better for Caspa this fall. But things have changed. The Strait of Hormuz closed since then. So things are always changing. We've got a 57 bottom. He says this is the all-time bottom. Very well could be. Can we retest this range? Certainly. To see Bitcoin just completely get back up to 100K and hold that with inflation so high, there's a lot of milestones that can interrupt that. So another opportunity to buy low. It's possible. There's a lot that needs to be overcome, but let's keep it on task there. Okay? Everybody's opinion is valid. We can prove it, disprove it. Sometimes the wildest concepts have some kind of core principle that we want to include. So let's just, let's be more friendly in the chat. Okay? Let's not do any name calling. And if we do, let's at least make it like a Fed name calling, right? To show that we have a level of intelligence. If we're going to troll people, do it with class. Yeah, hype. Zcash. We had a great call out on Zcash and hype coming back down to retest its own October 10th range. So there's your October 10th level. Right, here's September 15th when the Fed actually votes on the dot plot. Right, there's the dot plot vote. There's the FOMC minutes that released it. Yeah, see that? Comes back down, retest his key macros. Boom, pivots to the upside. We had a juicy trade in Zcash, which was timed like a clock. It was that where did we get that? I can't even remember. It was down here. Yeah, it was. It was right down here. Oh yeah, this was like a great Zcash call out. Right here. This bull flag. See that? And we want to take a look at this because we're seeing a lot of bull flags right now. So here's like an ideal type of setup where we put together a beautiful trading plan. We had these 2 leg up moves, and see how there's like a smaller bull flag here, and then we just have this dot 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 dot, this channel to the side, right? This is just perfect. We're not even going to draw it, but we ended up getting the entry like spot on for a 6x leverage trade. Right when Jerome Powell did his meeting, it was a durable goods print just like today. So we got everybody in with a 6x leverage trade, and some people got paid, dude. That was dope. Yeah, River is looking like it's going down in flames. And we've seen a lot of the top runners. Oh yeah, that's just, something's wrong at this point with River. A lot of these top runners like Lab, Dexus, they have these beautiful rallies, BSB, but these are really like one-time events. BSB could come back. But yeah, they're just all, they're crashed out. The reason being, when we take a look at River, here's a problem. And I'll use this on another swing trade that people are talking about. Too many investors are trapped. Okay? Yeah. So look at all the investors that are in up at like 20 cents. It's just, it's nightmarish. Yeah, there's no point in selling them now. You never know when that can come back around. It could be down the road. In May of 2022, this guy bought the bottom of Coinbase stock. Let's take a look at that. Details, we want details here. May 2022. What was your trading signal? Okay. Yeah, that's way back. That was actually before, I think before we even started the YouTube channel. But we remember what was going on back here. So there you go. You bought it, you had to put in a hold, and now you got payday. That's great. Oh yeah, definitely hold that for sure. That's a great project with all this tokenized stock, which really brings us into the meme coin sector. I want to show you guys this newer project. It's kind of controversial. A lot of people are doubting some of the claims. This is a DeFi privacy swap that offers tokenized stocks as a reward. I've spoken with some of these guys who run these computational bots. Obscura's, reaching out because here's the huge value here with AI trading bots that can just break even. They can make a fortune running Obscura. When CashCat ran, it was all because the CEO of Robinhood interacted with it. There's all these rumors circulating around Twitter that Vlad liked one of the tweets by this team. People are saying that it's fake. It's not. You can actually go to like shadow or like twitterstalker.com and find out when big profiles like Vlad's liked something and he liked it. It's like legit. That's a big signal. But let me show you how this tokenized stock stuff is trending. Index. This is a tokenized stock narrative on Robinhood. All these cats and dogs and stuff, that's great. A lot of that is like playing Call of Duty. You got to be up in the morning trading these on a whole different exchange. Stockbroker. Tokenized stock NFT project. All of these that I'm showing you net. This is RWA tokenized on chain. All of these projects, unlike this is CG. CG's a trench demon. He understands how to find these. Looks like a great project, right? Like a Dogs in the Hood or something. But the thing is, to catch that 100x ripper, we got to get a use case. And these guys are talking about having like a MasterCard project. I mean, they're claiming the world here. This could be a huge project in the event it actually takes hold. I mean, they're going for the brass ring here, guys. There's a privacy wallet. I would take 5 minutes and definitely look into this. We're still really early on this. So it can be a huge runner. Tokenized stocks. Remember, this is aligning with our big election cycle rally thesis. Stockbroker, right? All of those. But this baby, this is a hit or miss. In the event this actually works out, starts getting an MEXC listing, the MasterCard things come out. I mean, this is going to go bonkers. What if Vlad goes beyond liking it? So I researched how many projects Vlad has touted. CashCat, he did, and he also did this, Index, which probably doesn't have as good of a tech as OBS. Now, they're claiming that it's really heavy. Of course, we're not coders. We can't verify that in depth, but it looks legit. And the like from Vlad actually happened. Great question. I've been looking into this myself. Peak is on the verge of getting a VIP entry. And geez, look at that call out from today, right? Smash the like button, guys. If you're new, subscribe to this channel. Subscribing's free. You never know when we're going to tell you ahead of time, hey guys, tomorrow morning, right? If this number says, yay, buy today's top runner. And this can continue to trend upward. So congrats to anybody who got that. Let's take a look at Peak. Peak can definitely see an extended upside based on its use case. It's like a smart contract platform. There's a lot more to do with volume here with Peak. And this is strange. It's kind of trending with DeFi. So look at the last breakout, May 13th. That was when everything ended. That was when a high PPI inflation print came in and stopped the breakout. It stopped Bitcoin at 84,000. It stopped all your favorite altcoins. It stopped the total 3 chart. You see that? May 13th PPI. It runs parallel with January 13th PPI. And on Bitcoin, it also overlapped with the 400-day or the 200-day moving average. Right? So look at that. So it was a huge event. It sent projects like Lab and other DeFi projects, which will run towards the end. Magma, Clo, DeFi projects run at the tail end, home of these rallies. May 13th, when all the utility projects started crashing, but guess what? because everything's at such a high level, that's when everybody who doesn't know our trading system, that it's all over with, that's when they're all buying. That's when the general retail public is plowing in because they see a trend and they say, hey, it just went up for 2 weeks, it's going to go up more. So Peak, I bet you if you did a deep dive, does a lot of smart contracts for DeFi because it started rallying then. So I would trade this like a DeFi project. Now for technical analysis, that's a rounded bottom. And like we were talking about with a rounded bottom, it can and often will repeat itself. So we're seeing like a W or a double cup, which is bullish. We're already crossing the June 17th level, which is here, which is one of the reasons why this was going to be on a VIP post. So the dot plot trend has already been surpassed. That's setting it up for a lot more upside room. Now, using our macroeconomic resistance, we can get an idea when it's going to stop. Okay, here's our October 10th level. So yeah, this is a trade that is cool because it's got a potential 3x upside to hit October 10th. You see how we're doing that and what our logic is? That's the big coup d'etat, like massive resistance on altcoins. When they get over that, they usually become like VVV. Eden is crossing that right now. This guy that's now like blowing everybody's mind. We could have got a late entry on this in VIP at 12 cents, or you could have got it in super good at under 10. Still going. And this, again, it should have been our target trade. But digressing back, applying this to Peak, what we're looking at, that's the October 10th level. You see what I'm talking about? So all projects are headed towards that. That's when Morgan Stanley crashed the market, when they did a big dot plot vote at the Fed. Huge event. See, they went up there, stopped out. Eat it. Getting ready to cross it. Where's Eat it? So there's a 3x rally. There's the level for Eden. Eden gets above that, it's on. For Peak, it's 85 cents. So it's at 24 now. So can this make a Rico Suave move? Yeah. It could get stopped at 40, which still gives us about a double up, right? This is in line with some other inflation lines we can see. This one. Yeah, I like Peak. It's good. I think it's a little bit early. Remember how we were talking about a possible pullback? I'd like to see a pullback. Privacy is big right now, so automatically we're going with privacy. Now, I assume that that's a DEX, but let's see if it's on interesting. Big market cap, that's nice. And this was just released just now. Okay. So here's that big show. Yeah, it got released and obviously trending downward since. Now look at this. See this kind of like a Adam and Eve bottom? This is a consolidation pattern. You see the sharp downside and rounded bottom? Again, if you guys want to beat anybody online at technical analysis, just get this book. It's 14 bucks. I don't make any money. I just want to help you guys out. You checking out the show. I want to give you, some good information. That book, I bought them all. I got a stack of a dozen. That book's all of them. Now, what we'll be doing is updating our own pattern gallery. See that? Same thing. See how it goes? Big spike to the down and rounded bottom. And of course, there's a bunch of macros that connect to that. So back to midnight. So technically it's showing this consolidation. What exchanges is this on? Binance. Okay. Remember how we were talking about eventually the Fed's going to come in with some thing to get inflation under control, and there'll be this other catalyst that disproves Ali's theory and gets Bitcoin and everything back down to lower or possibly just the same range, but it's going to be another bottom, right? We'll be range bound because of this. Let me show you something here. So privacy, as soon as the Fed does, there we go, big dot plot move here. They took all the rate cuts away. They put a bunch of rate hikes, basically set the market up for destruction. Privacy starts to rally. With Zama, we're in VIP and we're like, okay, we're in a bear market rally. And so there's also a triangle on Zama. So we're loading up on Zama because we're really bullish. You can see the triangle. I don't even have to draw it, right? So, and this is the thing about a symmetrical triangle. Technically, on average, they'll do a 50-50%. Here's the thing. You can watch streamers with like 100,000 subscribers and they're like mislabeling triangles. They're like, it's a rising wedge when it's an ascending triangle and so on. Anyway, that's why this book, it's like a bird watching book. Chart Logic. It'll help you really get good at technical analysis. Ascending triangle could have broke to the downside, but there was like a bullish macro data all throughout here. So it's breaking to the upside. So with midnight, back to my point, I would say waiting until the Fed does their next rate move, their next bearish dot plot, which we're anticipating will come at the end of this year, possibly Q1 of next year. And then this consolidation can continue. See this Adam and Eve? The thing about the Adam and Eve pattern is our records, which is more up to date than this, our records show that the Adam and Eve pattern will continuously repeat and often repeat at a slightly lower valuation. Render. The Adam and Eve pattern, see, it's constantly Adam and Eve, see, and then it's repeating at a lower valuation. Kind of Adam and Eving. It's kind of it's a consolidation extension pattern. So my opinion on midnight is it's probably going to consolidate. Can it get some decent upside? Yeah. Is now a good time to buy? Sure. It's in a consolidation point, but the breakout won't come for like another quarter, if that makes sense. It'll come even after the DeFi, right? When we look at everything, we can really get a grip on what's going to run when. So big caps, small, medium caps, profit taking starts here, potential meme coin rally, and this is the DeFi window, profit taking starts, DeFi starts, and then this is your privacy sector breakout and your next meme coin rally, which will be jumping in the trenches as soon as the Fed gives us a signal, before the meme coins start running. And meanwhile, we'll be taking our profit out and then going to build that stock market deal. The S-back, it's called. Good call out, by the way. Thank you. Good call out there on midnight. We want to add that one to our watch list for later. No, that's the all-time average, bro. That's not how much we're making, bro. Yeah. I'm ultimately like your guys' assistant. You know, we could put a slang term in there, but I'm doing all the legwork. I'm doing tons of paperwork for you guys, not just with organizing this macro, keeping a detailed trading journal. I'm also going out and I'm doing all the gem hunting, right? I'm going over all the charts, looking for the technical analysis setups that are textbook, okay? Textbook setups. I'm going to find them for you guys and show them for you guys. And guess what? It works. We get, like, look at this little baby. And this is like every show. You guys always see me. I'm like, hey, did you notice we're catching bangers? And there's just a ton to learn. Really, really good stuff. And I've got my hands full. What a lot of other channels do is they hire people to make the trades for them. And they're just the spokesperson. So they can focus on videos. They've got an editor and a trader. And they're just a talking head. Cap, Eden, you can still get in right now. UAI, I had some in UAI and that one didn't hold. Still got the UAI. We're expecting it to increase. So UAI, it's a DeFi. People were getting scared because it had a bit of a breakout. We had a lot of calls for it at 30. And then on the day with the FOMC meeting, we jumped back into it, popped up, and then the breakout failed. And we later realized that this for the DeFi sector, remember, DeFi runs last. It runs later. So DeFi is projected to start here on election day. Magma, Clo, Home. This guy. I've still got some of this because the trading thesis is still intact. It's just a bit of chop. Cap. I missed this one. And Eden. I've also got a side bag in this project. And while we did have the VIP post here to get it at like 325, and I bought some there, I also added on here. So I'm pretty much, you know, break even. We haven't gotten those meme coin gains, but I'm a big believer in this project. What I'm really getting excited for is rotating this capital into stocks in Q1 of next year with my bank so I can do what's called an SBAC. I can pay myself. So I have my stocks and I have cash to do whatever I want with before the bull run starts. So I'm like doubling my money. Kite, I've been looking at quite a bit. Eden, here's the thing with Eden. They're doing a lot of work offshore. This is the second, one of the top, I want to say it's the second largest treasury bond on-chain project. So it's like an Ondo or a CFG. Once the Clarity Act hits, this can be such a huge catalyst for them because they can move from offshore into the US and more money, institutional investors can jump into this. We've got this bull flag here that's just showing it wants to get up to that October 10th level. Now, since we just touched it, we're anticipating if this goes well, right? We have the liquidity unlock, which is going to directly boost eaten because it's bonds on chain. So when that buyback steps up, when the Clarity Act is released, everything, this baby can get hit. And as we know, projects that can flip this level, October 10th, like ONG just did, it flipped the October 10th level. Again, even though we had this on radar and it was one of our top 3 trades for this morning, or all of our 3 trades for this morning, we should have made this one the primary trade. Looking back, I mean, this was so easy to get in, and some of our guys figured that out, right? They used this trading plan and they were like, yep, yes, and they got it here. But now that I'm putting all the puzzle pieces together, we should have posted about this like 10 times. Like, whoa, get ready. This is the ontology breakout incoming. Yeah, I've seen Kite. One thing that concerns me with Kite is it's already had this massive run recently in 2026. There is kind of an inverted head and shoulders here, but there's also the risk that this kind of fizzles. Remember how we were just talking about Lab and River and projects that made big gains and are dying out, BSB? I'm a little on the fence here with this one. That's the June 17th dot plot. 13 cents, 14 cents. So we're at 12. When it flips this, it can turn it into support. Let's say you really like Kite. Let's say you've done more research than me. You're honed in on it. You want to buy it. One insight I would add is you might as well wait until it flips this level. That's our big macro resistance that you guys by now, you get that one. KET. I'm assuming that this is a meme coin. Let's take a look. Yeah, nice consolidation here. Good chart structure. Good rounded bottoms. Bottomed out at the jobs report. So remember what's incoming, guys. Remember our big events. Jobs report. And just like we just caught today's biggest breakout project, put it in front of everybody's screen the night before it broke out, right? We're going to be doing that again for what we think is going to be an even bigger rally. And that's going to start, at the September 4th jobs report. So looking at your project specifically, sure, I would say that it's going to really start to pick up then. There you go. Right now we're getting, remember what we talked about in VIP with the theory of a pullback? It's called the Wednesday pullback theory. So we started looking ahead at this data. This is how useful our system is, guys. And remember, I'm just a mortal guy. I can teach you how to use this stuff in detail, throw a bit of extra time that I spend on the charts, digging through stuff for you, combing through the papers, so you have more time to do your own research. Insight like, hey, we're probably going to get a discount, because we could just look ahead at the data. It looked like inflation was going to go up. And so we can get that really good pullback on lighter, on Monad, which we're starting to see a little bit of now. Now, once that jobs report happens and everything unlocks, we're good to go. I mean, this is a clear bull flag. Yeah. Ansem? Absolutely. The Black Bull. We had, what was it, Dealer? Dealer we had some early call out on, ended up rallying, and now it's coming back down. My personal focus is on these tokenized stock ones, like we can see with Quotron, Stockbroker, NetNet, and Index. Now, Index, Vlad went ahead and he said, "Oh, something on Twitter," and this thing went bananas. A lot of these bookish tech guys are saying, well, OBS has got the better tech. And I personally checked out on like twitterstalker.com because people were saying, dude, they're faking it. Vlad didn't like that post. Yes, he did. He liked it. You can use like secret little websites and figure it out. He did it. It's legit. Galaxy spends a lot of time in the trenches. He likes this one, Pawhood. I don't like trading JPEGs on chain. I understand that it's like, you know, part of the ecosystem, but it's not for me. Billy, this is like a prime cat on BNB chain. Pawns has had massive upside. We should have had Pawns. Crying Cat's a Robinhood project. It's kind of new. We should have been able to have catch Pawns. It's kind of got this is a super low cap, obviously, but it hasn't crashed out. It's been around for like 30 days, still up. Pawns we should have been able to get because look at this beautiful symmetrical triangle. Right before, look at that. It almost looks exactly like Zama did, right? Just that perfect triangle. And obviously, you don't even need macro data with this. You just see the triangle and you're like, it's on. And what did it go to? Our big election cycle breakout, right? This is how bonkers it is. We've been planning this big breakout was going to happen since the 2nd of August. In fact, earlier, because we read all the data. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is tedious. It is boring. For $47 a month, I'll do your homework for you. And you can just look at the screen when you're researching crypto. Boom, boom, boom. We'll have cliff notes. I'll have gone through the chart, showing you all these. When we call them textbook setups, we're talking about this textbook. This is the Bible of technical analysis as far as I'm concerned. No association. I just think it's the best. And what we're doing right now is we're getting ready for the next one. So with our Wednesday, look out for a little pullback. It's not like a big discount, but what it is it's consolidating into September 4th, right? When everything is going to start at the jobs report because the liquidity increases. They're doing $6 billion a week, and then they're going to do $25 billion a week. Velvet. Something that we were able to time the breakout for twice with like a precision level accuracy. Now using our angled Fibonacci channels at this one, when it hit crash to the downside, comes to this next setup, crashes to the downside again. Now we've been using angled Fibonacci's. We don't have any in that post. We've been using angled Fibonacci's for years. In fact, one of the Caspa devs, like the head devs, joined our VIP group, not to check out our Fed data stuff, because those guys all are bookish, they went to college, to check out our repeating trendline system. Gareth Soloway is now using it. So runs into this repeating trendline and crashes out, resets back down to 12 cents. DeFi is anticipated to start cooking on November 3rd. Velvet's been doing a lot of work with tokenized stocks. Can there be a comeback? Absolutely. Can it be parabolic? Yes. Could it have crashed out? Yeah. So looking at Magma to show you, there's May 13th, right? Remember, the whole market crashes. This is how we got our DeFi solution. And we can see this across like Lab, all of them. November 3rd, this is when profit taking starts. Look at what happens in DeFi. This is when everybody else starts trading. So we can reevaluate Velvet for the tail end of this rally. All right, guys. Thanks for checking out this VIB stream. We've been going on for hours now, so we're gonna call it off. I'm going to do another one tomorrow, same time, and we're going to attempt to stream on X and on YouTube at the same time. So join us then. Bring more insight, bring more research, and what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll bring more insight from policy, from encrypted documents, and we'll share more charts with you guys. Of course, to cut right to the core, for $47 a month, join VIP, where we'll get you these setups. We always are saying this when we do our live streams. We're always like, hey, check out the good trades we made, because we're trying to let people know, hey, we kind of figured something out. We kind of got an edge. I can teach you it. So jump on in for the election cycle rally, which is going to be September 16th. Bazoom. The Treasury buybacks increased by 6-fold 7 days before that, and the politicians are all voting. So it's going to be a big day. Still more upside on Unga and Eden. Eden's looking hot. I can see somebody in the comments is like, what are we buying in VIP? We like Eden for the September 15th narrative. It actually aligns a lot with CAP, and we'll talk more about that and reevaluate these setups. Look for pullbacks on big caps. Don't forget about your big caps, and I'll get some more information about those S blocks in the bank so we can build some real wealth here. Awesome, guys. Super fun live stream. I think everybody's having a good time now with the market waking back up. Hopefully, we can catch a 100x banger with this bad boy. And definitely take a minute to check this out, because if Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, is liking it, and I checked that out using a special app, he liked it. He liked one of their tweets. So this baby, they're going for the brass ring here. Let's see if they can catch it. Awesome, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.